All right, so thank you all for joining today. This is Platform Double Sway, where we talk about mental health concerns, issues, information, everything to do with our roles as professionals, and then occasionally our roles as mental health clinicians. So today I have Miss Alisha White, Miss Ashlynn Tillman, and Miss Ashley Renee, who are going to be discussing the topic of how to best maintain positive mental health while being an educator. So thank you all for coming and agreeing to talk with the public. I think this is a very important topic. And I hear a lot and I see it a lot. So I wanted to get y'all's perspective and see what insight you all can give, because a lot of y'all are pretty seasoned and have a lot of different experiences under your belt. So to kick things off, I want to pose the question, I guess, Tillman, if you don't mind, Ashlyn, to everybody, if you don't mind giving your perspective, could you share your thoughts or some insights on how policies and politics have been impacting teachers, and how do you handle
that? I feel like policies do shape the framework within which we teach, but navigating the political landscape can be daunting, because I feel like when it comes to the policies and political landscape, I feel like us educators are like in the middle. It's like we're in the middle of a divorce, and we're getting pulled both ways. We're being told what to do, but we don't have a map on how to do it.
Yeah.
And we're more held and responsible for it, because I feel like, okay, they want us to do this, but they also have a finger to blame somebody if it doesn't go well or if it doesn't go right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was an undergrad when they rolled out the Common Core. And I remember halfway through my education, I had a teaching student in my flat. Halfway through her education, she started having to do the Common Core stuff. And it literally like ripped her apart, because basically she had to undo all the education she had so far to start to do this new rolled out thing, and do it on camera by a manual, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with little to no foundation of that while she was getting educated. Like no experience with teaching while she was getting educated. So I definitely feel you on the no map, no nothing, just implement. And that's crazy. That's insane. How is your mental health with that? Like, how do you? A divorce is a very powerful word to use. So I guess my question is, how do you handle or stay flexible with the amount of policy that's coming in?
I would say at the beginning, how I handled it, it was a little frustrating. I got overwhelmed at times. I had a lot of WTF moments. Now it's just as if I just go with the flow, because no matter what, you got to just keep going. So if they say today, hey, we're taking the alphabets out of curriculum tomorrow, we want you to start on numbers, I'm just gonna have to go with the punches, because no matter how I feel or if I voice my concerns, the job still got to get done.
What? So Ashley and Alisha, whoever wants to jump in and share your perspective. Ashley, I saw you were off mute first, and then Alisha, we're gonna hear your piece.
I mean, Ashlynn hit it on a nail when she stated it's like a divorce. It's like seeing the top and then the bottom. Like we're constantly bickering. We're constantly saying, hey, this is not working. We're in the work. So how can you not trust a professional? We got degrees. We're working with our students side by side. We're seeing the gaps, the learning gaps, the knowledge gap, and then you're placing the blame on teachers. Like, I feel like I'm in this toxic relationship and I'm in love with education. I'm in love with it and I want to give it to the students. But then this top is telling me, well, I got a better way of doing it. And I can't build this plane while we're flying. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm building a plane while it's flying, and I have 30 students who are going, well, 178 students actually, that's going crazy. And my colleagues are, what we gonna do? That's what I feel like. Everybody's like, what do we do? How do we survive? While they're expecting us to fly this plane, land it the right way, and everybody has equity. How do we do that? I feel like that's what I feel like right now. Just toxic relationship. Someone save me and give me, but that's, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a disconnect between the top and the teachers who are actually in the implementation part of it. It's like they have this expectation for us to pull kids, and then they don't understand the gaps that we're working with, especially with our COVID gap. And so it's an unrealistic expectation at this point, because they continue to add more to us and they want us to do more and do more, but they're not understanding, especially where the kids are right now, their expectation is unrealistic. And I feel like if some of those people that are higher up began to come down and just like meet us where we are in the classroom, they would have a better insight and a better understanding of where we are, which would influence their decision making and their policy making better.
Can I piggyback off what Alisha said?
Yeah.
I agree with you, and the problem is I feel like they don't come in the classrooms, and we have people in these positions that don't understand. I feel like they dock their resume up just to get the position instead of putting in the work. Why would you have somebody over us if they don't experience what we experience and they can't see from our perspective what we are going through? And I'm not just saying just one location, like the high privilege areas. I feel like you need experience in the high privilege areas, the poverty areas, so you can see from both perspectives when they do try to come up with these policies, and you can speak for us and say, hey, I have been where they have been. This is not gonna work.
Yeah.
This is not gonna work. And we can't constantly tell them what to do or what might work if we haven't been in their shoes.
I will say this because I'm gonna get on this soapbox real quick. I do know the Department of Education, when they put her into place, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but I do remember reading that she had a business background. She had no education background whatsoever, and then just started overhauling education for the entire country. That was crazy. That was insane. So what was that, like four, almost 5 years ago? That was crazy. And so yes, that is weird. Like, the policies are being written by people who don't have the experience, any foundation knowledge. That is crazy. And so it sounds like the professionals are saying, hey, this is not working. But they're like, never mind that, do this. and they better succeed. That is crazy.
But that's politics. I'm just gonna be honest. That's politics across the board. I just feel like they don't care. It's just like a power thing. We just gonna put something in place just to try to get somebody to shut up. Because if not, they will get all these complaints. And then if they really do the investigation, they will see how it really is. And them people won't be in those positions that they're in. That's just me.
How it goes. That's how it goes. So the plane is flying, all the pieces are not there. You got your 100, almost 200 kids in the back screaming, and their lives or their education is in your hands, and you're trying to put the plane together. That's stressful. I feel that in my chest. So Tillman, you told me about how to maintain your mental health. Ashley, give me your or Alisha, give me y'all's self-care routine. Like, how are y'all maintaining that, because I know all three of you love education. I've seen you actively with kids. Alisha, I've seen you with my own kid. I know y'all are really good educators to be able to do this as long as you have. So how are y'all doing that in a plane full of kids?
For me, it's about community for me. If I was alone and when I changed my district and I went to another district, I had to develop a community to keep my sanity. Because sometimes when you're facing moments or you hear a student going through something, you can't protect them from a situation. I carried it at home. Like I unconsciously do. And so I had to detach myself in a way of where I hear you, I can give you solutions, I can get you to the right person, but I had to learn how to detach myself when I got home because I'm a parent of 4. I have to be there for my family. I have to be there for my husband. So when I realized I was carrying that weight, I had to check myself. But then also I had a community of teachers and administrators who were very supportive. Like they can look at me and say, okay, Ash, you ain't at 100. Cause like I walk around like, good morning, how are you? I turn on for my kids. I feel like whatever's issue at that parking lot, I leave it there. I walk in that building, I'm on 100, and you're gonna get 100 from me. And then when I walk back out, now it's back to reality for me personally. And I think as an educator, you gotta have that turn off, that on switch. But most importantly, community for me is what keeps me stable, keeps me balanced, and it checks me when I need it the most.
I would agree. I would say just setting boundaries. We have to know, we have to set a boundary and, you know, put a work life and home balance in place. Because if you don't do that, I mean, education is forever. You would be at home doing work. I mean, it's something that you have to just continuously work at, especially if you are one of those educators who wants to perfect their craft and you're constantly, you know, trying to make yourself better. So what I have done is just set some boundaries for myself. At a certain time, I'm going to cut off and I'm going to dedicate myself to my family as well.
So I'm hearing community boundaries. Tillman, Ashlynn, I saw you unmute. Go ahead.
Oh, I would also say, this is my experience. Don't doubt yourself. It's gonna take some time. A lot of times, Ashley can testify. I will call Ashley or other teachers who have been teaching longer than me to make sure it's just not me doubting myself, because it will beat you down sometimes and you will question yourself. But I would say just keep pushing, especially if you know this is what you want to do and where you want to be.
And when you say don't doubt yourself, you're meaning like if you're not getting the results that you want, it's not like, remember that these politics are,
Mm-hmm.
that is important.
It's the results. It could be the kids. It can even sometimes, I'm not saying from my perspective, sometimes it can even be your coworkers. It could be your district. It could be a lot of the above. And then you'll second guess yourself to see, is this really what I want to do? Is this really where I want to be at?
And to pick it back from Ashlynn, a lot of times, and I'm not for sure if this is across the board, but those data talks, you know, when your kids, well, why did Johnny and Susan and them, they the only ones that passed, but you have this you know, this section struggling. And it's like, well, my babies, they're reading on a second grade level, but we're reading Texas 10th grade. And then when I water it down, by the time they get the star, they're used to the watered down version, but they're getting the actual level. And you say, well, then what did you do, Ash? I put in the work. I see the growth. So what I started doing for me, I literally will observe my students, know where they are, meet them where they are, and I develop my own goals for them. Because if I let an administrator tell me, well, you're not meeting this, I'm gonna fail every year. Honestly, if we're going to be realistic. But if I know my students and I put in the work and I set those goal sets for my students and they know their goal set, that's how I make sure I'm not second guessing myself. So Ashlynn, trust me, them first 2 years, I was a reading teacher. I felt like a failure every day because I had my babies that was resourced, who was reading second grade level, but was an 11th grader. That hurts, you know? And my principal kept asking me, so what are we going to do? You know, those star resorts. It's like, okay, well then I need to just find another career. That's how I felt at the beginning.
What I'm hearing you say is that you don't let nobody gaslight you. There we go. Sorry, Alisha, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was going to say, just as a future administrator, I think administrators need to do a better job at just offering praise. There are oftentimes that there are teachers that are making a difference, and like the lady before me said, I think Ashley, even if we're making small growth measures matter. You know what I mean? And so just offering praise to teachers, especially when you know the circumstance that we're in today's educational world, just doing a better job at, I feel like they need to do a better job at praising their teachers for the small things. Everybody likes incentives, you know, and just a word of praise incentivizes teachers who are not in it for, you know, anything else, but it just lets you know, hey, I see you, I appreciate you. And so, yeah, that's something they would definitely need to work on to help teachers just kind of stick in there. It's a missing link for sure.
Is there anything that we have not covered that you all are facing, or is there anything that we as the community, either as a mental health professional or just the community at large, can do to help support educators as y'all are trying to help our babies survive and get an education?
I would say it takes a village. It definitely takes a village, but at times we don't have that village. From my point of view perspective, where I am, and I hate to say this, a lot of times it's the parents. Mm-hmm. It's the parents, and then it's like a domino effect. It goes higher up after the parents, then up, then up. So if we can get everybody involved to help, even, I mean, and I hate to say this, even celebrities, I'm not even gonna lie, because my students, they idolize celebrities.
Yeah.
They don't idolize us. You might have one or two that idolize us, that love us, but when they see these celebrities, they gonna look like, I want that because I want that money.
Exactly.
They're not gonna look at, okay, what did they do? Or did they go to school? Are they in school? Have they been in school? And a lot of times those celebrities, and even when it comes to educating their kids are in school. Their kids are getting degrees.
Yeah.
But they're not putting that out there like, okay, it's okay to be a rapper, but also go get your education.
And I wish that they would say that type of stuff, like, honestly, because a lot of these celebrities and the rappers are not who they say they are. It's like, what's that guy's name from 8 Mile when they were like, he went to a private school. And a lot of the time, they are not who they say they are. And I wish that they would stop with the image stuff and just like you can be a rapper, you just like tell the truth, because these kids are going to follow you if you act like you got there by A, B, and C when really your uncle was somebody, etc. So yes, a village, and hopefully somebody higher up will say, hey, this is how I did it, and it was through education.
I would say for teachers, just advocating for yourself. I think, you know, advocacy it starts with awareness, just knowing where you are, highlighting the challenges that we face, and then pushing for meaningful change. Many teachers, you know, we feel like we have to be the superhero, we have to, you know, get things done, and we're oftentimes suffering in silence because we're training the future, right? We got to make sure that we are strong, or even pretend to be stronger than we are. And so just true advocacy starts with like open dialogue, which should lead to like supportive initiatives if, you know, the higher ups are actually listening. And that could just look like teacher support groups, counseling services, mental health days, you know, things like that. Because the reality is, if we're not taking care of ourselves, and if we're not advocating for ourselves, then we cannot properly care for anyone else, our students, our families, you know? So I think it's important for us to just keep sounding the alarm letting them know that, hey, teachers are struggling and here's how you can help.
Do y'all get, I wrote down the counseling services because I want to do my part in supporting y'all. This is an aside. Do y'all get like free therapy services as a part of your contract or no? No, okay. There's my assignment. All right. Anybody else?
For me, I think it's like, I feel like self-awareness, knowing who you are, knowing your philosophy, knowing your identity as a teacher leader, like having that that visual of who you are as a teacher. I think that sometimes we get in education, we think it's going to be bubbly, it's going to be, we here to educate, but then when you get in, you realize you're about health, you're about mental, you're about making sure these kids get food. It's so many hats we have to wear as an educator. And if you're not aware of yourself and what you're really focusing on, you can lose track and you'll feel overwhelmed. You feel like your cup is empty and you're constantly pouring and not pouring in the right direction. So we have to like really be aware, because I realized when I was in one organization, they went, technically it was against what I would consider what I would follow. So I had to like uproot myself, find another area where at least they met my philosophy, how we meet our students, how we communicate with our parents. So that's the way I had to control that, because I like control a little bit. So it was like, okay, what do I have control of? Myself. Let me check myself. Let me see if you're aligned to what I want. So then another thing that I was thinking of is like, when we talk about administrators and we talk about, like Alisha stated, it's the ideal of relationships. I think administrators are more focused on tasks than people. When we focus on programs over people, this is where we get the mental health. This is where teachers don't feel valued. This is where teachers don't get that recognition, because now we're recognizing programs, we're recognizing policies. We're not recognizing the people that put in the work. So when you ignore my work and what I pour, and I don't feel like a professional, that's when my mental capacity goes lower.
Yeah.
For me.
Ooh, that's a lot. You said a lot. Go ahead, Alisha.
I just wanted to piggyback off of that. When you said that, we come in fresh, I think we should pull on that, like pull on those novice teachers that are coming in with that fresh flame. For those of us who are more seasoned, who have been in education longer, we can learn from them with that freshness, to reignite our flame, to remind us exactly why we're doing what we're doing. And then vice versa, those, new teachers, they can pull on our expertise. They can pull on our content expertise, on our classroom management expertise, just things that they can pull on. I think, well, I know that just doing it together is better, and creating that collaborative environment and culture will really push not only teachers, but it'll model for administrators who don't seem to be following the task. And it also models for our students. You know what I mean? Like when they see us collab, then they feel like, and we create that culture and that environment, they feel like they can collab with their peers and vice versa. And ultimately it'll just it just promotes growth all around. So I think, yeah, pulling on each other together is better.
All right. Well, we're coming to the end of the time. I just want to say, as somebody who's outside but works with teachers every day, I appreciate what y'all are doing. Thank you for filling out those measures when they come to y'all's inbox, because I know they come on a daily basis. Thank you for everything that y'all do. As a mom as well, thank y'all for staying in the game and through all the craziness, because I know and I've heard it is not easy, but we need y'all. So that's it. Have a wonderful day.